Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I'm going to go back in time to a time when my son and I would have, it was a lot of fun, right? And my daughter, when she got older, every year on New Year's, I had this same exact truck. Yeah, at New Year's, we just, at midnight, we just ran it, snowbank. It was a lot of fun. However, battery time was like maybe 20 minutes. It was packed full of a lot of good memories. We'll just say that. Okay? So I picked this one here up off eBay. The decals are in excellent shape. The truck is in excellent shape. Did not come with a controller. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and upgrade the electronics on this thing. I think the first thing I need to do though is, if I remember right, is take this bumper off and then flip it over, and we can look at taking a bunch of quazillion more screws out and get this top off, because all the electronics are down below right here. Alright, so looking at the underside of this truck, I can tell you this: it will most likely, with the electronics upgrade, take a full-size battery right here. So let's go grab one of them. Okay, so a little bit small for the Venom 2-cell, but I can run something else. Okay, well, that one will work. This is a 3000 milliamp Goldblatt, and even though it's really tight right there, it'll work. Alright, so normally it would have a 9-volt right in here for the receiver itself. At the end of all this, we won't need that. Right? It does have a high and low range right here. I'm going to leave that manual, and just go ahead and I'm just going to make it updated. Okay, so we can run any of the 2 or 3 cell batteries in it that we want. Okay, the shocks are they're not oil filled, they're just springs. There's 2 in the back. In the front we have 4, and they're not oil filled, so we're going to leave that as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and get the top off. We'll see what we have to do. Okay, so what we have going on here is basically an old school receiver, and looks like the power for the battery comes out the side right here. I'm going to try to keep that as original as possible. However, I'm going to go and see what we can do about updating that servo and all that. Alright, so let's go ahead and get this out. I'm not using any power tools on this one, even to take it apart, because they seem to do more damage than good. Also going to keep this power switch right back here, the on off. I may use the one that comes with the receiver, but yeah, it's one of those things that we just do. Okay, there's a clamp to hold the steering down, and it looks like that's what we have for steering. I think I could put a regular steering servo in there. Okay, so next up I'm just just snip these off. This is for the 9-volt on the receiver. Okay, the brown and blue are for the motor. And one thing to remember on this truck is that it is true 4-wheel drive. So it's going to go ahead and remove them, and then the antenna wire. So this hunk of junk, it's not really junk, it's just outdated for what we're doing right now. Take a look if I have a servo that'll fit in there, and then we'll go ahead and see about putting a receiver in here. We still have the motor to address. Don't even know if it works, but by the condition of the truck, I can tell you that it most likely does. I'm just going to take these 4 screws off here, and we'll take a look at it. I do have another one of these that's up in Washington right now. You know how it is when you move and you leave stuff. You may not ever get it back. So, although my wife and I are planning a trip up there, she went and bought a dog that service dog, and it's in Walla Walla. So when I get up there, I'm planning to bring a bunch of that stuff that we left back. I mean, heck, well, we're heading that way anyway, so why not? Alright. Woo, here we go. Springs everywhere. We'll just put those over here so we don't lose them. Probably will anyway, but you know, one of those things. Alright. So what we gotta do now is test that motor, make sure it works. I don't know what is what. Is brown ground or is blue ground? Right? So we'll just assume that brown is ground. Nope. Alright, so blue is ground. Everybody remember that, okay? So we know the motor's fine. For some reason I tore this completely apart and did not need to. But I don't know, I guess I'm just used to that. Okay, so I found this old speed controller right here. With the wires already extended for the battery. Just need to do something with these, and gonna have to run an extension wire for this on-off switch so it can go back here in its regular spot. The old on-off switch, all I had to do is basically just pry it out. There's a little tab right here. If you look right there, little tab right there where it snapped in. Okay, so we're well on our way. Now we just need to, well, I guess I don't know what the story is on this speed controller. I think it's okay. I think it came out of the Wraith, which was having problems. Maybe not, I don't know. Either way, I don't know the story on it. So what I do is I'm going to just run some spade connectors. Blue's ground. Blue's ground. Okay. So that I cannot mix them up, I'll just make sure that I can't mix them up. You know, one way, all that happy stuff. Make sure we have everything working for the servo. Then I can go ahead and modify that. Don't you hate when you forget to turn the radio off? Alright. So, I got the speed controller all hooked up temporarily. And the battery hooked up. I got the receiver bound to the radio. It's called a new mod right now. And this is what we got. Now this is high range right here. Whoa, that's on 11 volts, right? All right, let's go to low range. It's just like I remember the truck to be. Low range was very low. Calibration still needs to be done, but other than that, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and hook up. We're going to use these spade connectors right here, and we're going to hook that up so that they can't be reversed, and we'll go from there. That way I can still disconnect the speed controller from the motor if I ever have to do anything, right? So, okay, let me get that done. Alright, so got the speed controller all wired in. Couldn't find my torch, so I had to use my lighter. And everything's working, looks like. Turn it on. And the Savox servo been kicking around my toolbox for quite a while, so it looks like it still works. I was not going to use this because these are real famous for having super short cords, but that's the next part. Now we're going to have to see what we can do about modifying that. So I can make something like this work in there. Okay, so that would be next up. We'll get that all worked out and working, and then we can go ahead and start placing electronics where they go, and extend this power switch so we can go back here. Yeah, fun times. Alright guys, hold on a minute, I'll be right there. Okay, so now we're on to the steering. This one right here is the old servo. It is a fairly close as far as the size goes, except the way it mounts is different. It just pushes down with a cap like this, sits over the top. That just holds it down in place from the other end. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I have one of my old Savox servos right here. I'm going to go ahead and cut it right here and right here. I'm not going to cut it real tight. Imitate that if I can. So I'm just going to go ahead and try to, first I'm going to grab a different battery. Alright, so just going to trim a little bit off the side. See how it'll do. Crap, I think we're almost there. Alright, a little bit more. Okay. I call that a win. It is a little loose. But then again, so is that. Alright, so the goal was to take off enough so I could get, okay, there we go. So I get this on here, right? Actually, may need to. And still run a screw through, because there was one, but it was smaller on that. So that would be, how do we do that? Okay. I think this goes like that. This like that. And then there's a spring that goes in there. Alright, I think we're pretty successful on that part. I was able to still use the original clamp from the old servo, but I had a big gap here and up there, which is making the whole servo do one of these numbers and go up and down. So I went searching for material around here, and what I found was this industrial strength Velcro. So I put the prickly side on this side, and I put the soft side on that side, and that took care of most of that. Alright, and so then I had a gap between here and the top of the servo, so I just put this together, used the adhesive, stuck it on there, and now I've got it super glued on the back side. It's not dry yet. Alright, so once all of this dries, it should work. I can show you a little bit right now. Take a look at the steering. Working great. And we got throttle still. Alright, so I'm going to let this dry overnight. Before this video is over, we're going to take her out in the yard. We'll see if it holds together. I don't know. Looks like my glue method worked out pretty good here on this servo. It is not moving at all. I went ahead and I secured the speed controller and receiver, taped up or zip tied these wires up. But I think it'd be a good practice I've found in the past to make sure that everything is working before you do that. So we're going to do that first. Alright, I got forward, backward. Oh, that is, let me move this a little bit. The steering is not very sharp, but it will not be, because that's not the way this truck was made, so. But it's working, right? And it doesn't just go all one way and all the other way. You can go a little bit, which is an upgrade all by itself right there. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the body on, and we'll take a look at her again. All right. It lives. I didn't put the full-size battery in, like I showed you at the beginning of this video. I should put a smaller 2200 milliamp 3-cell in there. So this plug right here, probably, I'm not sure if it'll stay. I mean, it's made to have a Tamiya plug just snap into it. So did a quick test run outside, as you can tell by the tires being wet, and it's working, but it's dark out, and tomorrow it's going to rain. So before we end this video, we're going to take her outside and see what it'll do. So, yeah, I'm happy with this. Another one resurrected. We move on to the next part. I just want to ask a question. And feel free to leave any comments. Would you do any more to this, or would you leave it alone? I'm saying leave the steering alone. Everything is fine. Maybe put some lights up on top, or in the headlights, something like that. Or would you just leave it? Yeah, I'd really be interested to know what you all think about it, because it'll give me an idea of where to go forward. Okay, so it's time. It's time to take this truck on its first run. Big question will be, what I did with the servo, will it hold up? Alright, so this isn't a massive crawling rig. It's not a massive trail rig. It's a toy. Back when it was made, it was for 110, 120 bucks. It was a pretty nice rig. But the whole reason why I brought it back to life was for nostalgia. Except my kids really love this thing, especially come New Year's Eve. As soon as it hit midnight, we went bashing through the snowbanks. I don't have any snowbanks here, but we're gonna go ahead and test it out. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and test this out low range. Here's your top speed. That's the low range. Alright, let's flip it to high range. It's pretty fast. Okay, we're gonna go back to low range and see what it'll climb. I think that was a pretty good test. This truck is actually over volted. It's supposed to run on 9.6 volts. It's running on 11.1 right now. It goes pretty fast. And as you can see, for a toy, it did pretty good as far as like the dirt and the fire pit and all that. Pretty good test for obstacles, I think, on that. So, what am I going to do with it? Well, now that I got it working, I think I'm just going to put it on the shelf, knowing that at any time I can take it off the shelf and run it. If that's something that appeals to you, I got 2 other ones I'm working on. I got the little baby brother to that one, and I got a John Deere tractor. Be coming up later in the year. And if you like this video, make sure to give me a like, subscribe, leave a comment on anything having to do with this. So if there's anything you would have done differently, if you like what I've done, any of that, just leave a comment. So, this is RC Mechanic. Just want to say thank you for watching. I really enjoyed this build, and I'll catch you on the next one.